So after getting the deck built, um, we waited a little while, like it was a couple months, yeah, October 20th. So it rained the night before, so I'd kind of mopped up the water that was there, and now we were going to get to getting the front wall built. And the hardest part at this point was trying to find all the pieces um, to go with the directions. So I had my wife Renee sit on those long posts for me because I needed to push against them. Um, and it went together pretty well. Those panels have a front and a back, and so you got to worry about how those orient. And so this is where the front door is. It's pretty simple. I do a lot of looking at the directions, trying to go find the pieces. Now we're putting the seals on. Um, I built it here. Later, I built it at the back of the deck, which was much better. I wish I had done this one that way, but I didn't. So here are the windows. They have a film on the front and back, and one is for a UV side and one is not for a UV side. Here we're putting tape on the top and bottom of those windows. And I only peeled the film down just a little bit so that I could keep track of which side the UV side was and wasn't. Here I'm putting the header board on across the top. And this is going pretty easily so far. Now later I used the back of the deck, and like I said, I wish I had done that on the with this side too, because later when I go to put on the angled pieces, I don't quite get it right. I spent a lot of time trying to look at the directions and how much space is supposed to be on each side as they hang over, and that really wasn't the way to do it, and it was kind of off-centered. So this is late in the day, and we were going to once we get this done, I bring out these long clamps, which were really helpful to kind of pull the whole thing together. Again, pulling the tape on that little triangular window at the top. And I should have just eyeballed it and made sure it was square, but I spent a lot of time measuring, and in the end, it wasn't what I really wanted anyway. So Tilt continues to supervise, and then that was it. So the next day, we're going to do the this is the day it rained and I mopped off. I had just swept off the deck before. So what is this? The 21st is the next day. I got started early in the morning because I really was kind of motivated to get it all done at this point. And so this is the back wall. Same idea. As we go in, again, finding all the pieces, spending a lot of time looking at the directions. So there was screws that ran to the base into those long boards that are going to stand up. And then those two, just the sideboards slid in. Like I said, there's a front and a back to these, so you got to pay attention. In a minute, I put the center board in, and I put it in backwards, and then I had to take it out and put it back in. But also you had to pre-drill some holes in the base, and the pre-drilled holes were way too close to the edge. There, I have it in backwards. I flipped it around. So I brought up my drill, measured, and I came back with a square here in a minute. And I measure really to get the screws down low enough that I didn't split the wood. Some of the cedar was really soft, and some of it was pretty hard. So it was kind of weird as far as that. So I moved it down to the back. You can say to the back of the deck, and now I could stand up. And we're going to do some windows here in a minute again. Well, there's the seal I put on. Sill, not seal. This is some work emails and texts that I had to get done. So that kind of put a pause as we went through the day. I wasn't working super fast, just steady. I dry fit the windows in there. And again, I'd pull it down just a little bit and leave it on there, and then I'd put some taping on. And there was different tape for the front, the top, and the bottom. I'm not sure why exactly. And then I'd put it in the slot, and then I'd make sure that it was oriented right, and then I'd pull all of the that protective coating off of the plastic windows. We just get through all the windows here, and then soon we're going to build the gables. I guess it's the gables, the angular pieces. Of course, Renee's helping me out when she can or when I need her. A lot of this I was able to do alone, but you definitely need somebody to help you with. So I kind of pre-built that stack on first. You can see that little square at the top. There's that little triangular window again. I measure, cut the tape, put it on. Tilk supervising. He's a very good supervisor. Then we play a little bit because he likes to play Frisbee too. So there you can see I'm putting on the angle pieces. That one I just eyeballed and got it in there, and it looked a lot better. You'll see me look at the old one there. I look at the old one and I'm like, oh, that's really off and crooked. So in a minute, I'm going to move the back wall, once I get it all screwed down, away, and I'm going to move the front wall into that same position and try to fix where it's off kilter. You'll be able to see at the peak where that square is just off. So here I'm moving it, and then you can see it just off to the right a little bit. So I take it apart, try to adjust it some, got it better looking, and then later it seemed to all fit out well. So now we're going to find more pieces. And I think we're going to do the side walls now. Yeah, so there's 2 side walls. Pretty flimsy. There's only 2 screws coming at the bottom of it like that. And some of these panels came in. And I use another board to kind of, because it's only 2 sides that panel sits in a slot. And I bring another board to hold it up. Use a rubber mallet to kind of whack it in place. While I put in the screws. In a minute, I'm going to bring some more clamps in. It's going to help me kind of bind it all together. Spent a lot of time looking what screw I need, what number, what length, and then getting that screw and then double and triple checking. Here I'm putting in corner brackets. They were super difficult to get in there because the drill head was much larger than the space, and I ended up getting a 90-degree DeWalt I don't know what you call it, adapter, so that I could get the head into those screws without having to get the whole drill up really close to that panel. It was a pain in the ass. Oh, sorry, pain in the butt. So then this is pretty much it. So now we're going to put the whole thing together, and I needed some extra help, so we got Alex's girlfriend Stephanie over to help, and so just 3 of us hold it together, and then I could drive some screws in, and then pretty much that was it. And then we go into the next day. So here we moved it over to the corner. The deck is bigger than the shed, and so we moved it over to that far corner. So this is day 6, but I think the 3rd day of actually building. Wanted to make it sure it was square. Again, put on the sills. Pretty easy. Could do this by myself with the help of Tilk, of course. And then here we're getting ready to attach it to the foundation or the deck. And so they wanted you to pre-drill some holes. They have some idea where you wanted to put it. On the side walls, I ran them all the way through the greenhouse, the decking, and then a joist. But in the front and the back, I just ran it through the greenhouse and the decking. I didn't go into a joist. And here, I think I'm going to slow down here in a second. I'm just pre-drilling holes. I'm putting in corner brackets, and then here in a minute we're going to go into to getting it. I had to pre-drill some holes, and then we'll show you how I get it right into the deck. That's not going anywhere. This is a 30, I need a 25. That one only goes to this board and the Trex board, so that's why I needed a shorter one. So here I just go back into time lapse where I'm redrilling holes and then putting those other GRX screws, tying it all down. So here we're putting, I don't know what you would call that, the main beam for the sidewall. Use some long clamps to just hold it up there, and then pull it all together while I put the screws in. It's pretty easy. Had Renee helping me, and we'll go to the other side. It was pretty straightforward. And I think we're going to build the gables. I guess that's what we're going to call them. Oh no, what do I bring in there? I think we're just finding all the pieces. Oh, and the windows. Here again, the windows, lots of windows. So I measured out all the tape. The one tape, like I think the gray was for the top and the dashed one was for the bottom. But essentially I'd peel back the protective film, and then I would do the bottom of the window and Renee would do the top, or vice versa, I'm not sure which. But then I leave the protective film on there, and then when I go to put it in the greenhouse, I would pull the film all the way off, because you have to make sure that you're getting the UV side facing outwards. And then we put so on the other side we put the windows in, put the other cross beam in, and then we screw it in. Everything, it's pretty straightforward. The directions are pretty good. It's pretty well made. Most everything fit together pretty nice. Here I'll show another view here in a second, but I think, I'm putting on these plastic, the plastic things that go over the top of the window. I'm sure it's just like a rain guard. Here I'm putting on some, screwing them to the actual greenhouse, and they have like this rubber cup. Originally I used my no cry to screwdriver, electric driver to put them in there, but then I went up to my DeWalt because I wanted them a little tighter. Here's I guess we'll call them the window rafters. So this is the side without a window. It's going to be the far side from where this camera angle is. So there's 3 rafters. It's pretty flimsy again because there's only 2 screws. Renee helps me get it up there on the other side. And then this is going to be with the one with the vent window. And I think this is the last thing we do for the day. And then we get it built so we can get the vent window in. I think I work on the vent window tomorrow. And there's some pieces of spacer wood that we get put in place, get those drilled in. And that's where the window will go, the vent window. And that's it for that day. So the next day I'm out there alone. So day 7, I think this is the 22nd of October. And so I kind of, no, it's the 26th. And I laid it out. I taped the that hinge down, make sure that it was all kind of lining up the way I wanted. I just visualized the space on either side, and then I went through and screwed it all in. So that went pretty smooth. Here I'm trying to probably find more parts, or Renee to help me put it in. So there we go. We got the rafters up. So I got the rafters up and the vane beam, but that's a problem. So this beam needs to go up some. So I'm gonna have to loosen the screw here. Maybe that one and that one, and then raise it up enough to get so that that's annoying. Everything else looks good. The other ones look good, and on the other side, but not this one, of course. So we got to fix that. So I get up there, I loosen the screws. I didn't take them all the way out, and then I get to pull it up, and then I get that shim in there so it fits in that slot, and then I tighten it all back down, and it worked out really well. So it really wasn't that hard of a job to get that done. And now it looks like it's time to start doing some sealing. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, so this is the Costco greenhouse, and where I am on the directions now, it says to put silicone on the top of the hinge, and that confused me. And a lot of the Facebook pages, and no, I didn't see a YouTube video on this yet, but everybody on Facebook says, yep, in fact, that they do put a bead of silicone above this on this hinge here, and it works fine. It seems counterintuitive because this would, as it raises up, like it would pull away, but I guess it really doesn't that much, or because it's flexible, it does fine. So I'm going to put some on the edge here, and then I'm going to run a bead along here, and then I think I'm also going to run a bead on this edge and probably around the screws as well. I don't know that they actually need them, but I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to do. So although I saw a lot of comments, I didn't see anybody that had actually done it. So I will say that I'm no expert, and I'm not sure that this is 100% the right way to do it. It's just the way I'm going to do it. So I'll take that for what you want. And it hits each one of those little nubs, and I pauses, so I'm not getting a real good bead, but I'm gonna, in a minute, I'm gonna smooth it over with my finger. At least that's what I plan to do. Alright, so I'm just going to do that. And I think I'm going to hit this, do the same thing. screws. Although it doesn't say to do it around the screws. Why can it hurt, right? It doesn't look pretty, but I don't think it has to look pretty. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do the same thing on this line here, but I'm not going to videotape that. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Sorry about that. My camera failed somehow. So here I'm putting in another support. I'm just using shims to make sure that the holes, those slots, fit correctly. And here it's ready to do more windows. So lots more taping. I brought them all inside so I could sit in comfort on my couch. Again, peeled back the protective film a little bit on each side. Measured the tape for both the top and bottom. Again, those are different kinds of tape. And then I went and started installing them from the back of the greenhouse towards the front, because otherwise it would have been a pain to try to seal it. So then I screw them in, I get them, and then I put the silicone. I quit using gloves, I just used my finger. And then the last two windows I'm going to do from the outside of the greenhouse. And so that worked out pretty well. The sealant from the day before was cured and looked fine. Later I found out that my window, although it didn't, when it rained, it didn't leak, but it also wouldn't open. So later I got the window to open by removing, I just shot a screw across the roof. I never found that screw. I don't know where it went. Anyway, so it didn't leak. And here, I get the last window, and then I'll do it from the outside as I put in the last windows and then seal them from the outside. So I think this is the thing that we did for the end of the day, and it's pretty much done at this point. We just need to put the door on, which I think we do tomorrow. And it's finally done and watertight. So this is the next day. Is it the next day? Where we're working inside. So the door's still not on. The 27th. So doing the shelves. The thing about these long boards is they're not, they warp a lot. So they had did I have to drill these holes? I don't recall now. Um, yeah, I think I measured and put those in and had her pre-drill the holes. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, and I used my no cry because the wood was pretty soft. I'll use my no cry electronic screw gun, not my DeWalt for these. Here we go. So, getting ready to put this end bracket. You can't see it's out of frame. But I just use a clamp. I get it on there. And in a minute, when I put the boards on, because the board is warped, I originally think that I have mounted that bracket like an inch off so that it's not level across the way. And as it turns out, and I figure out for myself that the board is just warped, and I flip it over and we'll take care of it. But for a second, I was pretty concerned because I thought I really had screwed up. But as it turns out, it was just the warped board. So just pay attention to that when you get these. They're not super. These long boards aren't super straight. They have cups and. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't too difficult to deal with. Here's where I start to realize that I might have a problem.
That's higher. Considerably higher. Well, shit.
Funny to watch my brain work.
Maybe it's just bowed.
Yeah, it's just bowed.
Yeah, let's do that instead.
Good idea. So here I just went to speed up so you didn't have to watch me in real time. Again, it was funny because sometimes the wood was soft and sometimes the screws were pretty hard to get in. But for the most part, it was soft, and with the DeWalt, I would have just rammed them halfway through that board, and I didn't really want to do that. So here I'm retightening that bracket that I loosened up earlier. The second board, much better. I just put it up flush, clamped it on this end, and then I started screwing from the other end back to this end. I really like this no-cry screw gun. fairly inexpensive, and it's been a pretty good workhorse. So here we're going to start working on the lower shelves. So I needed Renee's help in. I put an angle bracket there, and that's where the boards will go. It was a little bit more difficult than the upper shelves. I ended up using one of the boards as a spacer because you wanted it flush, that front board to be flush with the rest of the boards for the top. Went pretty well. Wasn't too difficult. Here we built it together. Just I had her hold some of the angles for me, and then hold it up there while I got underneath and was able to screw it, mount it onto the sidewall. Tilk adds a level of complexity to building anything, but he likes to be a part of everything as well, so I can't blame him really. That's a side for the on the far end of the wall next to the doors where it'll mount to the wall, and then the boards will connect to there. Again, having some clamps in order to hold things in place while you're doing it, especially if you don't have another person, even if you do have another person. Again, these boards were warped, so I needed to pull them in, and I'd use the clamps to straighten them out while I screwed them in. Well, I kind of screwed up on here. I was looking to see if there was a spacer, but essentially I just eyeballed it, and I think it called for 1 screw per board, but I ended up putting in 2 screws, and then I didn't have enough screws left. I had to go buy some new ones, so I have some star bit screws in this build as well. So this is the next day and essentially the last day. So just needed to put the door on. I think this was the 31st. Yes, it's Halloween. And we get the door on, and then we get everybody to come over and take a look. It's officially built. I'll still add electric to it later. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole. We're all inside enjoying it. That's pretty much the build. So thanks for watching. I might show you some pictures from the electric that I did. So I ran a 20 amp line from the fuse box to the greenhouse. I used a GFI circuit. I didn't videotape any of it. Here I used conduit. I ended up putting 4 electrical boxes and then a box with a light switch that goes up to the rafters, so I could have a light in there that was switched. And then here's just a picture of the underground. I used underground conduit, underground wiring, and then a GFI circuit on there, and made sure that it was down below code level. And then last but not least, then I just checked the circuit. This is it, kind of all finished. It worked out really well. Again, thanks for watching. And remember, if you're ever in a dark place, call somebody with a flashlight.